List comprehension is a convenient shorthand for creating lists. This stores each letter from the word anxiety into a list, and this one stores numbers from 0 to 7, but only if they perfectly divide 3. This one, only if they perfectly divide both 2 and 3. And here, for numbers from 0 to 7, we store even and odd in the list depending on whether they're even or odd. 3's. Use list comprehension to build a function that returns multiples of 3 that are smaller than the number n. This function uses list comprehension to take the items from 0 to n and stores them in a list if they are divisible by 3. So 3's of 15 gives us multiples of 3 from 0 up to 12, and 3's of 47 goes on until the value 45. Game of tuples. Write a function that asks the user to input a string of integers separated with spaces. It then returns the tuple from these values. This function expects the user to input a string of numbers separated with spaces. It then splits the string around spaces, and for each item in the resulting list, it converts it into an integer, then adds it to a list. It converts the outcome of all of this into a tuple and returns that. So while it correctly creates a tuple from this one, it also does it right for a single value. Empty promises. Write a function that takes in a list of integers and shifts all zeros to the end of the list. ARR is the list we'll be dealing with. This comes as an argument to a call to this function. Zeros holds the number of zeros in this list. We use list comprehension to create a list where we add all values from ARR that aren't 0. Then for number of zeros times, we append a 0 to the end of this list. Take this list for example. All 3 zeros get shifted to the end of this list. Concatenating lists. Write a function that takes in a list of lists and concatenates all the immediate sublists into one. This function takes in a variable number of lists and returns a list comprehension. This takes each value from the sublists and creates a single list holding all the values. So this list becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stronger lists. Write a function that multiplies each value in a list with the length of the list and returns that. We return a list comprehension here. For each value in the list, we multiply it by the length of the list and add it to a new list, the one from the list comprehension. Now this is what it returns for this list. It multiplies all values by 4 because the length of this list is 4. So 1 becomes 4, 9 becomes 36, 4 becomes 16, and 7 becomes 28.